If you want to loosen up with your artwork, with your drawing style, then a really good way of doing this is by using unusual tools or found materials. Hello, I'm Tracy Eastham. I am an artist and I founded Art School by Subscription, and this is my YouTube channel where I talk about lots of conceptual and experimental strategies to deepen your artistic process. I'm working with loose liquid ink today because it's just so versatile and we can really open up our mark making range with liquid ink. I've just got a couple of colours and I'm going to do a quick drawing of this still life scene, I guess. I literally collected some materials on the walk from my house to my studio. I've got a piece of wood, I've got an old paintbrush which I picked up in the studio on the studio floor. I've got this sort of paper raffia string stuff. I've got a couple of leaves, autumn leaves, it's autumn time where we are, and a bit of dried grass. I've got a plastic tube again on the floor of my studio. I've got an old battered plastic ruler and I've got good old corrugated cardboard. You can't go wrong with corrugated cardboard. There's no particular rule about how to do this strategy in order to loosen up your mark making, except for just trying to let go of the baggage that the drawing that you have to do has to be perfect or that it has to look a certain way, and you really do just have to go with the flow, and that's a lot easier said than done, particularly if you're quite used to being quite pernickety about the way your drawing looks, and maybe you've had an art school education experience where you were told drawing had to look like a certain way and it had to be realistic and it had to be really neat. We need to try and let go of that baggage, because what we're doing here is we're not making a refined, perfect piece of art that's probably going to go on someone's wall. We are experimenting with our mark making, we are loosening up our gesture, and I guess we're trying to reconnect with the drawing practices in order to develop as an artist. So again, just try and let go of that baggage that what we do today has to be like spot on or look a particular way. And it really just is a case of taking your object, dipping it in the ink and making some marks. Anything can be an art tool if you can dip it in some ink. So I literally just dip it in my ink and start making marks. And as you can see with this bit of stick, there's obviously two bits of wood that are sticking out, so I'm getting this really nice double effect, which is creating a really nice texture, and I'm using that to my advantage when I'm drawing this glass jar. If you think about it, glass is full of reflections and light reflections, so you know a double effect works quite well with glass. So I'm not overthinking it too much, I'm just getting some marks down. The other good thing about working with loose ink is that you get all the different tones, because as the ink runs out on my bit of wood, the tone is getting lighter because the ink's running out. Okay, so I quite like that. It's quite good for doing the brush texture actually, now that I think of it. It gives a nice scratchy brush texture, so that's going to be good for my brushes. Okay, so that's a random piece of wood. Let's try the leaf. So this is like a hard crackly leaf which is very brittle and is going to break up. So, but let's give it a go. Let's just see what happens when I dip this in. I'm thinking the sort of texture and the marks on the glass might be quite interesting. Yeah, that's working for me, I think. I'm trying to follow the curvature of the glass, but allowing the leaf to make quite random marks. I quite like that. It's quite sketchy and expressive. I'm going to use it to do these bristles as well because it's quite rough. Okay, so that's that. That's good. That's giving a really random, messy, scratchy effect, which I quite like. Let's go to our plastic ruler. So this one's a bit random. And I think I might just bring in a bit of a different colour actually. A bit of yellow ink this time. And I'm going to try and replicate some of the highlights on the edge of the glass just by literally scraping it across. Following the curvature of the glass again and just letting it scrape across. An interesting thing is that where it's running into the wet black, it's actually making some really nice mixes of colour, which is unexpected and quite pleasant. Okay, and now I'm thinking, because it's straight, I want to get like some of the straight brushes and pencils which are in there. So I'm going to go ahead and get some pencils standing in my jar here. This time I've mixed blue with yellow to make green, and I'm liking that effect. Okay, so that's the ruler. Let's give the raffia tape a go. So raffia tape's very random. Is it going to be more random than the leaf? Let's have a look. I'm going to go back into my ink, black ink, and I'm going to try and get a bit of shadow, like the shadow underneath the jar. That's a completely different effect. I'm going to add in a bit of blue there just to deepen that colour. Okay, so I'm just going to leave that there. I quite like that. Let's go for the corrugated cardboard. Every good artist has a stack of corrugated cardboard in their studio, am I right? So I'm going to go in with my black. I'm just going to mix it with a bit of blue. I'm going to get this brush here. Oh yeah, that's gorgeous. Just big, broad strokes. I guess what you can see I'm doing here is I'm keeping it really simple. I'm not overworking this. Because the materials are so unpredictable, I could really easily just totally overwork this just by repeating my brush strokes too much. But as you can see, I'm just doing one brush stroke and then leaving it and leaving off. So that's my advice for you. Just keep it simple when you're working with unpredictable materials. Okay, I haven't done my scratchy old brush, and I'm using the handle end of my brush. Now let's see, I'm going to get one of these brushes. I'm going to draw a brush with a brush. Get that coming down into the glass. It doesn't hold a lot of ink, so it's running out quite quickly, which is fine. It's just what it wants to do. Oh, I didn't use my bit of grass. So I've got one more brush to do, so I'm just going to dip it randomly in my ink. I'm just going to let the surface of the grass like print, basically. I'm basically printing a line. A brush line. That's quite nice. It's very strong and bold. I'll continue that going into the glass a bit. Good. Yeah, I like that. Another one is I've got this random bit of plastic tube. So I'm going to go into the black again, and I'm just going to do some dots following the curvature of the jar. There's a curve to the jar, and there's some notches in the glass. So I'm going to use this. That's very fun. This is an addictive one, making spots. I like this one. Okay. So there, I've used all my materials, and I've not overworked that. It's taken me a couple of minutes, and I actually really like this drawing. It's a very gestural, it's very loose drawing of a jar of brushes and pencils. There is a massive range of texture here, there's a massive range of tone, and it's a joyful drawing. I could go into this afterwards and rework it, maybe tighten it up with some traditional art materials like you know, a fine liner or pencil or even a paintbrush and paint. But for now, I'm just going to leave that. And what I want you to encourage you to do is when you're feeling stuck, when you're feeling frustrated, when you're feeling lacking inspiration, when you're feeling bored with your artwork, this is a really good strategy to get you going again. Use some found, sourced, random images and just get some nice loose liquid ink and just make some marks. Have fun and see where it takes you. So thanks for watching this video. Please subscribe to my YouTube so you don't miss out on any future videos. Thanks for watching.